Hello again. In the past hour, it's been reported that an AirAsia plane with 162 people on board is missing after taking off from Indonesia, Surabaya, the second largest city in that country, and it was on its way to Singapore. Now, AirAsia, just in the past few minutes, has confirmed itself that the aircraft is missing, but AirAsia, won't give any more information. But we have been getting some from Indonesia's transport ministry. Let's get some more details from our correspondent, Ben Bland. Let's piece it together slowly but surely from what we know at the moment. It broke just about 50 minutes ago, this story, Ben.
It did. This is very much a developing story. What we know is it was flight QZ 8501. AirAsia in the last few minutes have confirmed that it was an Airbus 320. There had been some confusion about how many people were on board. According to the latest statements we've got, 155 passengers and 7 crew. So that's the total number on board the flight, according to the Indonesian Transport Ministry official who's been giving this information as it's been developing. Now, the plane took off from Surabaya in Indonesia. It was en route to Singapore. It's a journey that should last no more than 2.5 hours. It is now way behind schedule. It lost contact with air traffic control around 42 minutes after it took off. The flight itself was believed to be over the Java Sea when contact was lost. That's according to the news agency Reuters. I had a look on the website, the flight status. We put the flight number in there, flight number again, QZ 8501. It's showing that it departed pretty much on time. As for the arrival time, it's now saying flight simply not yet arrived. So undoubtedly a very anxious time, a worrying time for people who've got family, who've got friends, who've got relatives on board that flight. And just again, in the last few minutes, the news agency Reuters has been reporting that the nationality of the passengers on board, according to Reuters, 149 Indonesians, 3 Koreans, 1 Singaporean, 1 Brit, and 1 Malaysian on board that flight. That's according to the news agency Reuters, who are filing this information as it emerges. Just to recap, it left Surabaya in Indonesia, bound for Singapore. It is now way behind the time that it was due to arrive. OK, Ben, for the moment, thanks very much. Well, stay with us. We're going to speak to Jerry Surjatman. Jerry is an airline industry observer based in Jakarta, Indonesia, and he joins me on the phone now. Jerry, what do you make of the news that you're receiving, and do you have anything extra to add to what we've already been saying?
Well, the aircraft last recorded its position about 480 kilometers northeast of Jakarta. Yeah, and it's way overdue now already. It would have run out of fuel by now. So everybody's now in the distress phase and starting to look for where the aircraft is. Apart from that, there's not much of the information. There was earlier some conflicting information that has not been shared about where the aircraft is still missing.
It's not a great line, Jerry. Can I ask you to repeat what you just said about fuel on board the aircraft?
Yes, with regard to the fuel, the flight would be about 2 to 2.5 hours. So they would be carrying about 3.5 hours of fuel, which, or maximum 4 hours, which would be empty by now. So that's why they've gone to the distress phase, in which they know that it's gone down somewhere.
What about the line from the Transport Ministry official in Indonesia, from Hadi Mustafa, who said that the plane had asked for an unusual route before it lost contact? That's not that unusual in itself, because there would be multiple routes, presumably, would there not?
The data that I'm seeing is that it went on the normal airway between Surabaya and Singapore that they use all the time. Now, the thing is, the weather in the area where it disappeared is pretty bad this morning. So they might have asked for a slight deviation to avoid the worst of the weather. And then the other thing that I'm hearing from colleagues in the ATC is that there was news that the aircraft did request to change altitude due to turbulence. So at the moment, weather is most likely to be a factor, but we don't know the details.
Jerry, thank you very much indeed. That is Jerry Surjetman speaking to us from Jakarta in Indonesia. Jerry is an airline industry observer. Ben, that's news that we hadn't heard before. Jerry talking about possible weather and turbulence and possibly the plane asking to descend from its allocated height, and also the fact that it would have run out of fuel because 23:17, you say, and Jerry says the flight would be about 2.5 hours. We haven't had that much from AirAsia. I suppose it's to be expected. They need to be certain about what exactly has happened.
They do, but what's interesting, the statement that they released just, as I say, within the last few minutes, they have said that search and rescue operations are underway. That's come from AirAsia, the airline itself. This is an airline that is quite big in that part of the world. It's a budget airline. It began flying in 1996. It got into financial trouble. It was bought out by the international businessman Tony Fernandez in 2001. He turned it around and made it a very successful company. So they are trying to keep people informed. Obviously, for the airline, it's probably a difficult balance between giving enough information so that people feel they know what's going on, but not giving information out until they are absolutely sure of it. Just to recap what they have confirmed so far, that 162 people were on board that flight, among them 155 passengers and 7 crew. So that makes it 162 people on board that flight as we say, flight number QZ8501, the AirAsia flight that took off from Surabaya, bound for Singapore, now way behind schedule. And as you said, the ministry, the Indonesian Transport Ministry official, saying that just 42 minutes after the plane took off, it lost contact with air traffic control. And in his words, this is Hadi Mustafa, in his words, that the plane had asked for an unusual route. Now, it's not entirely clear what he means by that, whether it was an unusual route in terms of the destination they were flying to, or why they asked for that unusual route. So I think there's a lot of questions, certainly at this stage. So far, in terms of those who are on board, the Reuters agency, news agency, is reporting 149 Indonesians, 3 Koreans, 1 Singaporean, 1 Briton and 1 Malaysian are on board that flight.
OK, and indeed that is Reuters quoting Indonesian media about the nationalities. Ben, thank you very much indeed. I just want to read out to you the statement from AirAsia, which says, at the present time, we unfortunately have no further information regarding the status of the passengers and crew members on board, but we'll keep all parties informed as more information becomes available. As you can see on your screen, that is the telephone number of an emergency call centre. It includes the international dialing code, so you just have to dial that number to find out any more information if you know of anyone on board AirAsia QZ8501. And as we get more information, of course, here on BBC News, we'll bring it to you. Hello, you're watching BBC News. I'm Adnan Nawaz. These are the very latest headlines. AirAsia has confirmed their flight QZ8501 from the Indonesian city of Surabaya to Singapore has lost contact with air traffic control. The plane is an Airbus A320, similar to this one, with more than 150 people on board. And more on this breaking story. Alice Budisatrio is on the line from Jakarta Airport. Just the latest, if you would, please, Alice.
Well, from the information that we've got so far, the flight QZ8501, an AirAsia flight, it's a Malaysian-based airline. It left the Indonesian city of Surabaya at around 5:35 local time, and it was supposed to be a 2-hour flight, but the plane lost contact with air traffic controller about 45 minutes into its journey. And it's believed that there are 155 passengers on the flight. The vast majority of them are Indonesian nationals, and these are from preliminary reports. There's also 1 Singapore national, 1 Malaysian national, 1 British national, and 3 South Koreans. And we can imagine, because of this time of the year, most of these people are probably holiday makers, because Singapore is a very famous destination for Indonesians to go on holiday. And a lot of people took long weekend from Christmas to the holiday season. So at this point, we still don't know. We don't have much more information than that. But the Indonesian military has sent search planes over the area where they estimated the flight lost contact over the island of Kalimantan in Indonesia.
Alice, you said the plane left at 5:35 local time. Could you just confirm the time for us now? Because we heard earlier from an industry expert who said that he believes the plane by now would have run out of fuel. What time is it with you now?
It's 11:20 local time now, so it is about 5 hours since the plane has lost contact and about 4 hours since it was supposed to land.
Okay. How large is the search area? Do we have any idea about that?
Well, Kalimantan is an island with a lot of forest area, so it may be, we don't know at this point precisely where the plane has lost contact, but certainly it is an island that is, has a lot of the rainforest area, and the plane could also have lost contact over the water instead of the island of Kalimantan. So it is certainly a large area to search. But as I said, the Indonesian military so far has gone on local media saying that they have sent search helicopters.
Is all of this information coming from this gentleman, Hadi Mustafa, from the Indonesian Transport Ministry? Is he speaking to Indonesian local news networks? Is that how you're getting the information and giving it to us?
We have also heard from the Indonesian military, but the Indonesian Transport Ministry official that you mentioned have also said that the plane, as far as the officials know, were on a regular route. So there was no deviation, as far as they know, before the plane lost contact. So at this point, they simply don't know what could have happened to the plane.
I was just asking you about how we're getting the information because I'm wondering if there's going to be an official news conference. Has anything been announced about that?
We don't have the information yet at this point because I am still in the city of Jakarta, the Indonesian capital, and I would imagine at this point all the communications are being coordinated from Surabaya, where the plane has departed from this morning.
Alice, do you have any information about the pilots and also specifically about this line that comes from Hadi Mustafa from the Transport Ministry that an unusual route was requested before the flight lost control with air traffic control, lost contact?
We don't have that information yet at this point. As far as we've heard from the Indonesian Transport Ministry officials is that the plane was not was actually on a regular route. There was no deviation of the route as far as they know before the plane lost contact with the air traffic controller.
Okay, Alice Butte Satrio in Jakarta with the very latest. Thank you, Alice.